Throughout the history of humanity, we set in place devices and institutions with one goal in mind, to make sure that a tyranny will not happen again. Am I right? But tyranny is like a virus. They always find a way to adapt and use whatever was put in place to make sure it goes to power again. And they are learning how to do that even with our institutions, with Supreme Court, Judiciary, Parliament, Executive, everything. They were able to find a way. They adapted again. Brazil is today maybe the battleground for this new kind of dictatorship. A dictatorship that identifies as a democracy. Because nowadays, nothing is what it really is. It's what it identifies as. This is the crazy world we're living in. We call it a trans-democracy. A dictatorship that identifies as a democracy. Brazil is today an experiment. It's a laboratory of how to implement a dictatorship disguised as a free country, as a democracy. And if it succeeds in Brazil, make no mistake, it will succeed everywhere else in the world. I see that in many other countries, they are already trying and they are already experimenting what is happening in Brazil. And Brazil is one of the biggest countries in the world. It is the biggest country in Latin America. It is the biggest Christian country in Latin America. I cannot let my country, the country of my children, of our children, become a dictatorship without a fight. And I'm not afraid of being arrested anymore. I gave my life to God, honestly. And the same thing I say to my colleagues that are here today. Ricardo Salles, Polon, Júlia Zanata, Bia, Eduardo Bolsonaro. We know that just by being here, going back to Brazil will be a risk. We know that there is a big chance that we will lose our freedom, but we don't care about losing our freedom as long as we fight for the freedom of our future generation, of the people of Brazil. That's why I really want to thank you again, Mr. Rob Herman, for giving us a platform, for listening to what we have to say. I don't know if we'll have to travel the world with this message, but we cannot let Brazil become a dictatorship. And when I say become, it's to be recognized as one, because it already is. We have here today a journalist, Sérgio Tavares, journalist from Portugal who went to Brazil to cover a protest against what's happening in Brazil. He was almost arrested at the airport. The questions that the federal police asked him was, what do you think of Alexandre de Moraes? Do you like the Supreme Court? Who did you vote for? Now I ask you again, is this a question that a free country, a democratic country, would ask a journalist entering in that country? I don't think, not even Venezuela, you would be detained at the airport and asked such idiotic questions. But that happened to him. And he will go back to Brazil soon to talk about that. Hopefully, he won't be arrested at the airport. So please, we are crying for help to the world, for the love, freedom-loving people of the world. Please pay attention to what's happening in Brazil. And mark these faces of the congressmen that are here today. There's a chance our faces will be in the newspaper pretty soon behind bars. We can be arrested, but not our children. Thank you.
Falou bonito, né?